Well, a THC ban is coming to America in 5, 4, 3. So the Senate just passed what I call an extinction level event for the hemp industry. So it's a federal THC ban that's set to wipe out $30 billion in products. And you can bet that the House going to go right along and nod their heads like bobbleheads on a damn dashboard. This move is going to recriminalize hemp-derived products. You know, that stuff that some people using, the Delta 8s, the CBDs, all that stuff going to be gone. Now, it was legalized back in 2018 under the Farm Bill. So your local smoke shop, your gas station gummies, your online orders, oh, that's about to be gone. Call your representatives, because if it passes the House, it's lights out for your local businesses. That Freedom Party that you keep voting for just told you what freedom means. Freedom is only what they define it to be. Now, they say these restrictions are about safety, but I say they're about control and cash. Every time something becomes profitable for regular people, the government swoops in like a jealous ex. Like, if I can't have you, nobody can. So when your pain kicks in and you can't get your CBD oil, remember who banned it. The same people preaching small government. Turns out they only want it small enough to fit in your bloodstream and your bank account.
Your favorite gummy or beverage is getting banned, by the way. They snuck a full-ass hemp ban into the bill. It can't have more than 0.3% THC. You can't make CBD products without having a tiny bit of THC in it. So this is a ban, and even the conservatives are freaking out about it. Our customer base that we built over the years is mostly MAGA. I took that screenshot from this person who's like really conservative. Until now, THC that came from hemp wasn't very regulated, and this will override state laws. Where are all my states' rights, people, right? The hemp industry in the United States is about $30 billion and employs hundreds of thousands of people. This would be obliterating all of it at the stroke of a pen. I want you to look back at what happened when we prohibited alcohol. Speaking of which, this whole thing came about because of alcohol industry lobbying. They got Mitch McConnell to put it in the funding bill. I do think that if this goes through, if the House passes the appropriations bill as is planned right now, this is gonna get insane. That's hundreds of thousands of people whose skills are now completely invalidated because the government told them to go fuck themselves. And you have to put blame on both parties because a bunch of Democrats got on board with this version of the bill. Both parties serve capital. That should be your takeaway from all of this. They get alcohol industry lobbying money. The alcohol industry wants to make sure you're addicted to their product and you're not using anything else. Something that, mind you, has lots of medicinal benefits. Helps people through therapy, all sorts of stuff. Well researched. I don't need to talk about it for the next 5 minutes. But the alcohol industry is mad that you don't buy their bullshit. So they want to punish you for it. Isn't that great? Isn't that great that that's how this country is structured? How capitalism is structured? The whims of the people never matter. The whims of the ultra-wealthy, though, that's what your politicians answer to.
What do you mean Republicans snuck in a provision in the bill to pass it? What do you mean they snuck in a provision into a bill? Is nobody reading the fucking bills that are being passed anymore? It's not snuck in there. You should just be able to fucking read it before it's passed.
This bill will effectively preempt and nullify all state laws concerning hemp. Currently, Maine limits THC to 3 milligrams per serving. That will be overruled. My home state limits THC to 5 milligrams in beverages. That will be overruled. Minnesota, Utah, Louisiana also have 5 milligrams per serving. Alabama and Georgia have 10 milligrams. Tennessee has 15 milligrams. The bill before us nullifies all these state laws and makes the hemp industry kaput. The language in this bill will outlaw all current hemp plants and seeds. It changes the definition of what a hemp plant is. It makes it so low that there may not even be an existing plant that can meet the parameters. But every plant in the country will have to be destroyed. Every hemp seed in the country will have to be destroyed. This is the most thoughtless, ignorant proposal.
A reminder that every time a ban has been aimed at jazzy cabbage or a derivative thereof, it has always been to protect another business. The original ban on devil's lettuce in the United States actually came from business magnate and professional puppy kicker William Randolph Hearst. See, Hearst's wealth was entirely derived from the paper industry. He made what today would be billions of dollars off of it, and hemp was set to replace paper as a printing material. By almost every metric, hemp was a more sustainable printing source, and it was cheaper to manufacture. Hearst saw this coming well enough in advance that he could have easily pivoted his model to start printing using hemp instead of paper and made a lot of money, but he didn't. Here's what he did instead. He dumped money into a misinformation campaign to convince white Americans that marijuana, a close relative of hemp, made colored people thirst for white blood. I'm not exaggerating those words either. That's almost exactly what the misinformation campaign was telling people. It worked. Not only did marijuana get successfully banned throughout the United States, hemp got banned as well, which kept William Randolph Hearst afloat. Right now, all hemp-derived THC is set to be banned by a provision that has been snuck into the Republicans' funding bill for the same reason, to protect another business's profits. Specifically, it's the alcohol industry, because as Jazzy Cabbage becomes more and more legal nationwide, it cuts into alcohol profits. It also cuts into the number of people who are getting addicted to alcohol, which is a huge driver behind alcohol profits. Fun fact, the alcohol lobby actually increases advertising in neighborhoods where substance abuse is a bigger problem. This is part of the problem for the alcohol lobby, because the more widespread legalized use is, the less people get addicted to alcohol. That's because cannabis not only requires you to consume less of it in order to get you that pleasurable state, it is also extremely less chemically addictive than alcohol. It's less chemically addictive than sugar. It means more people are turning to cannabinoids than alcohol. Because the alcohol lobby would throw babies into a grinder if it meant they got to keep their profits, they convinced Republicans to sneak this measure into the current budget bill. Because they don't care if THC is overall safer for Americans' health to use than their product, they would gladly hurt you as much as they can if it meant they got to take $1 from you.
The structure of hemp different than the marijuana plant.
It's a lot of confusion about that. So look, it's all cannabis. Cannabis is the name of the plant. They look the same. The only difference is the genetics. And in our country, if anything has more than 0.3% THC, if it has more than that, it's considered marijuana. If it has less than 0.3% THC, the cannabis plant, it's considered in our country hemp. So they're both cannabis. It's just a matter of, does it have THC, a lot of THC in it?
One of the wild things about the American political process is that a lot of legislation is done as an omnibus bill, or a bunch of different provisions are all thrown into one bill that's voted on. The government funding bill that passed the Senate this week had one particularly interesting provision in it that banned the sale of all hemp-derived THC. Live in a state where Delta 9 is illegal, you've probably noticed these dispensaries popping up everywhere. I'm in Texas and there's literally one across the street from my house that seems to be adding a new sign for advertisement every single week. But anyways, they have Delta 8 that's hemp derived and Delta 10 that's hemp derived, and they're selling flour and gummies and vapes and cartridges and all different kinds of THC that's all derived from hemp rather than cannabis, which was an exception under state law and under federal law. Republicans took advantage of the growing complications around the government shutdown to throw this provision into the bill that will end the shutdown. It's supposed to be voted on by the House of Representatives tomorrow, and President Trump has already given his approval for the legislation. So it's likely that come 2026, if you're in an illegal state, you're likely going to see these hemp-derived THC products go away.
This really flew under the radar, and now what Texas lawmakers spent months debating could be decided just within a matter of days on the federal level.
Why do they now want the American public to have access to this? Why?
Chris Fagan owns Be Hippie in Garland, a shop selling all sorts of items, including THC hemp, a product which has federal lawmakers talking.
Why that would be used as leverage to open the government.
On Monday evening, U.S. senators passed a spending bill moving one step closer to ending the government shutdown. But language unexpectedly added to the bill would criminalize hemp-derived THC products across the country.
I'm not sure why we want to use that as fodder to open up the federal government again, but it does not make any sense in my mind's eye.
Earlier this year, Texas lawmakers debated a statewide THC hemp ban, but instead of banning it, Governor Greg Abbott signed an executive order to highly regulate products and stores. Banning THC has split some Republicans. On Tuesday, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick reheated his favor of a ban, posting to X, "I believe this ban will save a generation from getting hooked on dangerous drugs." Meanwhile, Republican U.S. Senator Rand Paul, whose amendment to drop the THC ban from the spending bill failed, spoke about the bill banning hemp even with amounts of THC so low that people do not feel a high.
The numbers put forward in this bill will eliminate 100% of the hemp products in our country. That amounts to an effective ban because the limit is so low that the products intended to manage pain or anxiety will lose their effect.
The U.S. House of Representatives will now debate the bill and language. President Trump would need to sign a final version. In Texas, veterans groups regularly spoke in support of THC hemp products.
And we provide a 30% off discount for all veterans.
Fagan is a veteran who says people frequent his store not to get high, but to heal.
And so we have a large population that is looking for natural remedies that aren't pharmaceutical based. It's going to funnel a giant black market, which is going to hurt a lot of people.
Senator Ted Cruz, again a Republican, was opposed to adding that THC language to the bill, believing it is more of a state matter. Now, if this ultimately goes all the way and is approved, the ban would take effect 1 year after becoming law.